Good evening, everybody. This is Claudia, your host for tonight, and I'm here with our favorite emotional coach, Alice Post, to talk about trauma, trauma and what it creates inside of your body. So, because this is a topic, I also want, if Bernadette is willing and open to share, this is a great topic she probably has studied, and it's an open topic. Everybody can talk about it. So, for now, I'm going to start with passing it on to Alice. And our title was Trauma Lives in the Body, Breaking the Cycle of Stress and Sickness. Why this matters? Unprocessed trauma isn't just emotional, it becomes physical. Hidden trauma can manifest as fatigue, digestive issues, chronic inflammation, autoimmune flare ups, anxiety, and emotional distress. So, we're going to start tonight. I'm going to give the first mic to our emotional queen, emotional, I don't even know what to call you. I don't know.
Detox therapist.
Yes, emotional detox therapist.
Yeah.
And yes, Alice, let's start with this topic, and maybe I will actually just spotlight you and go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's see, how many are we here today? And all of us are women. Okay. It's not to be generalizing that only women, but if we see the signs, fatigue, you feel run down, hormones, so many things are affected by our emotions and the trauma that we go through. Some of us could have this trauma, oh, from childhood, from a marriage, from relationships.
I lost I lost you for a second. Something's wrong with Mike. 1 second.
I don't know what happened. It just
There
muted.
we go.
There we go.
Continue.
So most of the time we look outside and we always look to blame somebody else. But our body remembers. Our body remembers trauma, remembers pain. And automatically it's as if there's triggers, especially when you're detoxing, right? We get very emotional. So our body does remember pain. It remembers all of the trauma and it will conduce itself. We make choices when we're under that stress, then it gets even worse. So what I like to do with all my students is remind them first and foremost, the most important relationship is with you. So when you start letting go of any kind of either not just regret, but maybe you're angry because someone hurt you. There's a lot of trauma to your body, to your psyche, to your emotions, and it's hard for you to forgive them. Turn it around, as hard as it may sound, and you thank everything that happened because it wouldn't bring you where you are. I can almost guarantee that every single one of you have had trauma in your life one way or another. Some of it is caused by our own um, inability to see or how to make decisions. So if you've gone through something really traumatic in your life growing up and in your even in your later years, I can almost guarantee you that you can get rid of that when you take care of yourself, when you start loving yourself, and you don't even need to really forgive yourself. Maybe a first baby step is, yeah, forgive yourself and say, well, I didn't know any better. I really didn't know any better. I made those decisions based on fear, based on fear for your life. I'll raise my hand. I came from a domestic violence in my home. My marriage of 35 years was full of abuse. So this brain adapted to how do I survive? If I know I'm going to get beat almost on a daily basis, or anytime I open my mouth to say something and somebody doesn't like it, how do I survive? So the body starts to do whatever it can to survive. It will shut down, whatever it is. But the pain body, the physical body, is going to reflect what you're holding on to inside. So at a very early age of 28, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed with thyroidism, hypothyroidism, and also rheumatoid arthritis. Those three at the age of 27. Why so young? Because I got married at 16. So by the age of 27, I was already enduring for many years a lot of beatings, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, et cetera, right? So does the body that I have remember pain sometimes? Yeah. And when it gets stressed, it wants to go there. But doing this detox and others that I've done before have really helped me with the pain, right? So you know yourself better than anyone, and you know things that you've kept to yourself that you never want to say to anyone, and that's okay. You don't have to share with anyone anything. But if you work with yourself and say, okay, but I'm going to forgive myself because the 16-year, 25-year-old did not know any better. And whatever trauma came into my life, I did not know. So how do we deal with fatigue? How many of you here suffer from fatigue, inflammation, pain in your joints, anxiety, and sometimes even fears that you don't want to identify as fear? But when you make a decision in your marriage, outside of your marriage, at work, and it stems from fear, we know it's going to cause trauma, right? So, Claudia, does anyone have any questions anywhere? Because I cannot see the, oh, there we go.
I
Reading, good evening,
let me
everyone.
see if somebody has a question, or I was hoping my brother also came in. My sister and my brother and I have been talking a lot about this topic, and in a good way. It's almost like we have found a way to detox with each other about trauma. So they're about the same age, 62 and 64. I'm 52. So the traumas they lived are different than the traumas I lived, obviously. But they've been going back a lot into traumas that they did not consider traumas until now, and they have been able to speak about them. And it has to do a lot with mom. And I think that as much as our mother is such a sacred being, it's also one of, I believe, one of the people that um, cause trauma. And we don't do it trying to meaning to do it with our children, right? I'm thinking, oh, I hope I'm not causing trauma to my child by doing this all the time. But so I wanted to ask you um how to start recognizing that like I said, because we have done it in a healthy way, but a lot of people just want to keep it there, and because it's safer or it hurts less, or I think the most important thing is it's not confrontational.
Yeah,
So I believe that talking to our mothers, and I think our mothers, we may have to use another word that is not trauma because they won't like it. It's another generation probably, but they blocked it because they themselves lived in another generation that they didn't talk to their mother. So every time that now more people and more people are coming out in the open, what I wanted to ask you is how do we process these traumas, number one, with mom, sometimes that, but let's start with mom. And the other thing is, what if the parent, and let's start just with parents, not like partners, let's start with parents. What if the parent has passed away? So how do people deal with trauma if the person has actually ceased to exist, and you thought, I didn't tell it didn't come out when that person was alive?
yeah. And I see Marissa has her hand up. We'll get to you just in a second. Okay, Marissa? So again, I will tell all of you here that whatever I tell you, don't believe it. Don't believe anything or everything that I say. Investigate it for yourself, and always, always be honest with yourself. I speak only from experience and working for 25 years with people from abuse and all of that. So all I can tell you is the best way to work with any relationship. If we're going to start with the parents, first and foremost, especially if they've passed on, or if they live and you have a very challenging time talking to them, anything like that, don't start with them. Always start with you. Take care of you. What does that mean? How do you do that, Alice? If you're all by yourself, you don't know what to do. Well, my favorite thing, and if you've seen any of my other interviews or talks, is stay still. If you use life as a distraction, work, 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 helping people. Most of us that suffered from a lot of trauma help a lot of people because since we had a lot of pain, we don't want others to suffer and we try to help them out of that pain. But the most important thing is not to run from any emotional trauma that you have. Don't run from it. Stop, stop seeing yourself as though you did something bad or you were not good enough and that's why that happened to you or anything. And it doesn't have to be a dream. It could just be something even work related. It doesn't matter. But if we're talking about relationships with your parents, I don't know you if you're a parent, but I don't remember my babies being born with a book under their arm that says, here are the directions. Do this every day, every year of their life. You know, we don't know. We only do what we were taught by osmosis. Whatever we lived, we kind of don't know. We just pass it on. Unless we really want to get out of it and we start reading and trying to better ourselves, right? So our parents didn't know any better. They really didn't. Everything that they tried to do, they did it hopefully, right? Because they want to do the best for you. But they're only a program from their parents. And it's a long chain of programming. It's all it is. If you were born in a certain culture, you're going to be programmed to that culture and those beliefs. So I'm a Hispanic background. And in the Hispanic background, the woman has no, very rarely has a voice. And if you add to that a very Pentecostal Christian background, deep down, even more so, you don't have a voice. Okay, so there's a lot of things that contribute to how we can now here, how can we deal with the pain? And that's loving yourself first. Saying, you know what, if you made a certain choice when you were 20 because you were forced to, twice I had a gun put to my head, twice. Those kind of things, I don't remember them now with pain or anger or victimhood. I remember them as something that happened and that I didn't know any better. And being a Christian woman, when he changed his mind after taking me out to the desert and said, get up, because I was told I would never see my children again. What did Alice do back then? She came home and all she did was thank Jesus. I just thanked God and I said, oh my God, thank you that you changed his mind. Oh, I'm so happy I hugged my children. I was just thankful that God touched his heart and he didn't pull the trigger. So what if I would have known what I know now? I would have acted very calm, gotten my phone, would have called the police, and I would have said, you know what? There was an attempted murder on me. This is what's going on, and I'm scared, and I need you to come and we need to do something about it, right? I would have asked for help, in other words. But when it's the father of your children, and you don't want to do that to your children, you want to do that to him, the mind is distorted on what is right or wrong because of the trauma, right? So if you know right now that you did or didn't do or allowed something when you were younger, you need to love yourself and say to that version of yourself, I love you. And I'm sorry I didn't know how to take care of you back then. I didn't know what I know now. But now moving forward, boy, I am in a better place. I know that there are resources and I can help you. And that's how you start. Because what happens when you start helping yourself and you start transforming from within and you fill yourself with love? Love all the time. Love yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Before you know it, those around you, like the mom or your children or the spouse, will feel your different vibration. Wow, she's happy all the time, or she's so, patient, content, compassionate. She has empathy every time, maybe if it's the parent still, or your siblings, or the husband gets angry, reacts with anger. No more do you take it personally. Now you know that that person also is carrying pain and that person is also struggling. So no judgment. You just keep taking care of yourself. Do your breathing, eat right, exercise, drink water, smile, dance, listen to happy music. There's so many things that can really elevate our energy. So Marisa, you have a question. Claudia, did that help you a little bit? Because sometimes we want to go back to our parents and tell them, do you remember when this and this? And they're going to go, no, I don't remember. Because they were busy doing laundry, making tortillas or baking or cooking. And they're going to say, nope, I do not remember. And then you go, Mom, you used to do this. I'm sorry, but I don't remember. Then,
They don't remember.
then you
They don't remember. That's what has happened with my mom. We keep telling her things and we're like, hey, don't worry, it's forgiven. But she's like, she can't remember. So I want to bring Marissa up on the mic. And by the way, I did call Alice Alice, which is how I met her, but she actually has a first name, which is Socorro. And Socorro in Spanish, I love how she explained it the other day, means help. So you can call her Cora or Socorro or Alice or whatever your heart feels, but she's actually in her new Facebook page, which I've just put there. You will find her under Socorro, which what a wonderful name your mom gave you. Socorro is a, I never saw it until you said it, that Socorro actually means help. So where did Marissa go? Here we go. Okay,
I'm here.
go Marissa.
Well, it wasn't a question. I love, first of all, I love the topic because I'm dealing with something related to this. And I don't know if I have time to share a little bit about that and see if what I shared can help anybody.
Absolutely. The floor is yours. This is an open
Yeah.
mic night.
Okay, just let me know if you know, I try not to be to talk too much, but first of all, I wanted to share like one of the things during my healing process has been the understanding that parents do their best with what they know, and coming to that understanding, that's very liberating, right? I have to understand that, like my mom, she was a child, she was a young wife at one point with a bad marriage, and she was a young person who didn't have a lot of love, so whatever she didn't give to me is because she was not able to give it to me. So when I came to that understanding, that became very liberating for me, right? So I totally agree with Socorro. Uh, with you know, we have to take care of ourselves first. And one of the exercises that I do is I look at and this is something that Louis Hay teaches. I look at myself in the eyes and I tell myself that I love myself. And a lot of people find it very difficult. And I think when I started doing it, it was difficult also because maybe we didn't feel loved, right? But it's wonderful because you know you have to take care of yourself. You have to let yourself know that you are there for yourself, right? And the other thing that I wanted to share is that I try to be very quick. I lived in the U.S. for 20 years, right? And after I got divorced and you know, our house was sold, and I thought that I had to return to Costa Rica. I thought it was time. I didn't. That was the decision I made. But I left my 16-year-old son there. I'm sorry, with my ex-husband, right? Because he had to finish high school, and that was so painful and so traumatizing for me that I thought that was the main source of a diagnosis that I had a couple of years later for of rheumatoid arthritis. I started experiencing pain in my joints. I didn't, well, at first I didn't realize, I didn't make the emotional connection. It was when I started my healing process that I realized that it had an emotional connection. And so I started doing everything like holistic, alternative, right? And I got in remission after 1 year. I didn't want to take any pharmaceuticals, and then I was okay. I would go to the gym, do I would lift weights, you know, had a very good normal life. And in January this year, I had a situation that got me into a depression. I was very sad, and what the pain returned, right? So it was like a confirmation for me of the emotional connection. And to make a long story short, I went to a presentation of this woman who does biodecoding, and she talked specifically about that. The presentation was about the impact of trauma in this a lot of conditions, right? So right away I set up an appointment with her, and you know what? She told me this condition has to do a lot with times in your life when you had to feel like you couldn't move or you didn't want to let go, right? So during this session, we were able to identify other situations when during my life, even as a child, when I wasn't able to, I didn't want to let go, or I had to be immobilized. A couple of those times was when I was like 19. Two men tried to take advantage of me, right? So you think it's something that happened and you forgot about it, but the trauma it was there in my body. And after that session, let me tell you, I have seen a lot of improvement. And I know I'm on my way to recovering because I think I'm focusing on the right area, which is the emotional trauma. So I wanted to share this because I maybe it could help somebody.
Absolutely, Marissa. Thank you so much for sharing because it does bring us to that part where, and I like biodecoding. If you haven't heard the term, you can just Google it. It's really biodecoding is just that you are carrying that pain in your cells. Oh, Bernadette, thank you for raising your hand. I'm going to give you it next. The part that I want to share today that came with what Marissa was saying is if you have not seen the water video, I'm going to actually put it on the chat and then later on the video. And it talks about how your cells actually carry, first of all, a genetic pain. Like, you know, if you have not been able to biodecode the the pain that the cells are that the cells can change. That's my point. So there's a scientist and he's done a lot of research and it's on water. And so they do 2 glasses of water and he starts talking or saying good things to the water, and the water molecules actually uh, do these beautiful waves. And then he starts talking angry and bad and ugly things to the water, and the water actually turns the molecule, the structural molecule of the water actually changes. I'm so passionate about this guy now. I forgot his name. I'm going to post it. And because I keep looking at it and it's like they put heavy metal music and the water changes and it goes all like it's got all the pictures. I love watching the pictures, and it puts classical music and then the water just flows. And so if the water is changing, and the theory is because we are over 80% water, and if you're not doing these great things like Alice and Marisa was saying, which is taking care of you first, loving you first, saying I love you, you are wonderful and beautiful, and no matter what happened before, you are new and you're a new creature every day. And so I wanted to just share that part. And Marissa, thank you, because we can change that molecule structure. And it's not just an idea that, you know, trauma that's there is causing illness. If you're not able to break the code, that's why it's called biodecoding, to break the code where there was a trauma in the past, and you're just now freely accepting it, freely talking about it, freely not fearing being guilty, then you can break free. And then your body starts breaking free from that disease that is just in your body, creating cancers, autoimmunes, things like that. the last thing, and to pass it to Bernadette, is my husband has a blood clot, and I'm trying to find the book extract that my sister-in-law sent me, so I can't find it right now, but I'll just
Yeah.
share it.
I just
He
shared
said,
chat. If you look on the chat, you'll have the doctor's name right there and one of his quotes. I
I
put
thank you. Yes, those water respond to emotions. It's incredible.
just so you
So
know, Nadia, excuse me, I know Bernadette's waiting. Just give me one second. I wanted to talk on that one. That is
go.
the reason why when Michael, my husband, was in prison, he watched the movie, the documentary about this doctor, and
Oh,
changed his life completely. Because he said, if we are so much water, if,
mhm.
if that does, water can change by the emotion and how we think and how we feel and how we react, right? The heavy metal music, etc. So if we're so much water, and this was I mean, he was in prison a long time, right? And he was like, he thought he'd never change. He was always going to be a criminal for the rest of his life. And when he heard this, he said, then I can change because I'm 90. He believes he's 90% water.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
he said, then I can change. And that's how we started this path. So I thought that was beautiful. I love,
Wow. I love that connection. I'm actually gonna give it to Bernadette and then
yeah,
share the story I was gonna share. Bernadette.
Okay, I'm just going to add to everything that you guys were saying because one of the things that's really important is your thoughts and your emotions, your emotional state. They affect your nervous system, your stress response, and your gene expression, right? So how if you're thinking positive thoughts, that changes your gene expression, right? So that's why, I think someone, I don't remember who was talking about talking positive affirmations. That's why that's helpful. And there was actually a study where, well, first of all, when you go through trauma, you have to forgive yourself. I think we've all acknowledged that. You have to forgive yourself. You have to love yourself. And there was a study where someone, one of the things they had to do was look into the mirror every day for 21 days and say, I love myself. I love myself for what I've been through. It's over. I forgive myself. And speaking those positive affirmations changed their life and their pain went away as a result because it was just the positiveness of everything that they were saying to themselves changed their gene expression and some of the pain went away. So it's so important to, forgive yourself. And as you said, Alice, to, to love yourself, right? Because that's the first step. You have to love yourself and forgive yourself, right? And that will, you know, that'll change your gene expression and change some of the pain that you feel as a result of trauma. And trauma, there's trauma that you're not even aware of, like early childhood trauma, because you probably all know up to the age of 7, children are so, influential, right? And often stuff that happens, they don't even remember. They don't even remember, but they've been through that, right? So it's sometimes we have trauma that we're not even aware of, but we have the pain later on, whether it's inflammation for whatever kind, and it's from pain that's not that's unresolved. So that's all I wanted to add. I'm just confirming everything everyone says because it's really interesting that you guys are talking and then whatever you're saying is exactly what I'm thinking. So it's like you're in my head. So thank you for that.
Well, Bernadette, there's no, I always said there's no coincidence why you ended up in this community. And for those that don't know her, she's one of our latest and greatest additions. She is a wellness coach as well. And I don't know her as long as I know her mom, which is a really long time. So we are so happy to have you here and love your input always, Bernadette.
Thank you.
I found the extract in Spanish, but I wanted to share this story just to give a little bit more um, weight to what we have been sharing here. And please feel free to jump in and share something that's coming to your heart. So my husband, he had a thrombosis of the vein in his right leg. So for those of you that don't know my husband, he is in top shape. Like he runs 12, 14 kilometers, he bikes 50 kilometers in a week. So like he does like 3 or 4 runs and bikes and he does everything. So how does a healthy man get sick? That was the question always. He's like, he always says he's the weakest link in this house, even though my mom's 85. So my sister-in-law, who does a lot of biodecoding, she sends me this. And the night before, so my husband has gone through a lot of trauma, especially in the past year. His ex-wife has chosen to take really pretty much by force his daughter, because she was living with us. She was supposed to go on vacation and then she never got returned. So I don't want to say big words, this is going to be a video, somebody's going to watch it one day, but the child didn't want to be there. She had already chosen to be here. So my husband starts suffering in silence. Men often suffer in silence, but not in silence, like he tells me. So he tells me a few nights before he actually started getting the blood clot, he keeps telling me, I feel lonely. I feel betrayed. And so he starts telling me his feelings, and I listen to him. I'm his wife, and all of this. So then he gets the thrombosis in his vein, which is a blood clot. And a blood clot in your bloodstream can kill you, because it can actually go to your brain and then you die, or it can go to your heart or your lung and you can die. So he starts actually living his life like it's his last day. And then I tell my sister-in-law to treat him, and she sends me this, which I'm just going to read one extract, and it says, the blood circulating through, and so this is after he's told me all these things. The blood circulating in my veins represents the happiness in life. A thrombosis is defined by the formation of a blood clot in a vein or artery, and it provokes a blockage, and it impedes the free circulation of the blood. In this state, it demonstrates that the blockage is a blockage of freedom and of love circulation. Feeling alone, feeling sad, and feeling that you have difficulty to confront something that is too heavy to carry, and that I am not strong enough to succeed in what is happening. I lose my happiness for living. My life is stuck. I feel forgotten, abandoned, uncomprehended. And when she sent me that, I said, these are exactly the same words he has been telling me. So the feeling that he feels has made his freedom and love for life create the clot in himself. So she said that. She said, just to continue a little bit more, my life is stuck. I feel that. I don't feel love in me. I am unflexible and I am firm with the way I think. Uh, this manifestation is in all my body, but when it happens in legs, and there it is, I think it was Marissa who said it, when it's represented in legs, it indicates that I am afraid to move forward and that I have a tendency to stay stuck and without movement, which could also mean insecurity, because he sees his love go away and he sees the love has left. And so in a state of trying to retain, I can strengthen the probability of seeing that love die. So what she said is that he needs to repeat, I open myself to life and I accept that changes are part of my evolution. So he's supposed to repeat this every day so that the blood starts flowing and the blood clot dissolves. So my point with this story and sharing this very personal moment of my husband is that sometimes we go untreated. We don't go to coaching like I do, and we should all go and check, our time with Alice and see what she has for our personal matter. I go to my sister-in-law. She's very good in these things, and because we treat illness with medicine, Or sometimes we even treat illness with supplements because we work and love and enjoy for life and transfer factor. But if you or your client is treating illness and disease with a detox or a supplement or medicine, and you have not treated what really is causing the illness, that you're never going to get better. And so this was my closing statement, which I'm going to pass it back to Alice to finish her closing. And anybody can feel free. I'll stop the recording to share anything they want, and maybe they are a little. I'll stop the recording after Alice, and you can maybe, if you want, share or ask Alice for some advice, and if not, then go privately with that. Let me give it to Bernadette before, so Alice can close. You go first, Bernadette.
Yeah, Claudia, that is a really, really good point, because sometimes my clients, they have health issues, and often if if they fix their diet and drink the water and do everything I tell them, and there's just something else, then it's often trauma, and it has to be dealt with further, right? Because there's pain that they have that is not leaving their body for whatever reason. It's the trauma is just so deep in their body that they can't release that trauma. So that is a really, really good point. You can give it all the vitamins and everything that you want, but unless you deal with that pain and figure out where it's coming from, whether it's something from the past or as a child, you are going to have difficulties getting well, right? You can eat all the healthy food and take all the good vitamins, and that will help, right? But you will may still have some issues. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Bernadette. I have shared the protocol already. As you all know, good healthy probiotics. I'm not going to go over everything. Reflection. People are afraid of taking reflection because they'll think it's like an anti-anxiety. It's not. It actually helps you focus. Even energy sticks has a L-acetine, which is an amino acid that will help you focus. So a lot of the times the stress also comes because we can't focus. We got too much things going on, and lack of focus creates that issue. So the supplements will be in the protocol tomorrow with the video. And Marissa wants to talk, so that's very good. It's a good sign. Go ahead, Marissa.
No, I just wanted to ask you if you could
Yeah,
write in the chat that affirmation that
I will. And I
okay.
sent it to you in Spanish in your own personal chat, but I'll write it for everybody here.
Thank you.
And I sent it to you on your personal chat.
Okay, thank you.
Alice.
Okay.
After you, I'll stop the recording in case somebody wants to talk without the recording.
Well, just a friendly reminder to everyone here, whether you're on a detox or not, whether you're thinking of a detox, wherever you are in your life, spiritually or emotionally, just remember to be kind to yourself. Have grace for yourself. You've never been this age before. So wherever you are now, you can start fresh. It doesn't matter what happened before. It can't follow you forever. When you have the resistance on facing the pain, it will show up in one way or another. Mine showed up through cancer. And my Chinese doctor explained to me how that worked. And I believe it 100%. After I left the marriage, after I renew my mind daily, do things like the affirmations, yes, walking, fresh air, grounding, all of those things really do help. But nothing is as deep as when you sit with yourself. And I have a little poem that I could share in the chat. And I think I saw there's a Hugo here. There's also one for the male version, but this is called The Girl in the Glass. And there's also one called The Guy in the Glass. So you can just substitute that. But since we were mainly women, I went ahead and picked it up for the women, and I'll share that with you. It's a beautiful poem. I don't know how much more time we have, but let me go ahead and put it in there. So please always remember the kindness. That goes a long way. Be kind to yourself. You didn't know any better, and now you can do better. And that's the thing, right? We're here to feel good, be good, share good, right? So in everything that we do with for life, with anything external, it's an inside job. It's taking care of yourself, and those emotions don't run from them. So let me see how it looks when I share it. The girl in the glass. Do you mind that I read it? Do we have enough time?
No, we do. We have enough time. If I leave, you'll be the host.
Close your eyes. You can close your eyes, listen however you want to do it. The girl in the glass. When you get what you want in your struggle for self and the world makes you queen for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that girl has to say. It isn't your father or mother or friend whose judgment upon you must pass. The one whose verdict counts the most in the end is the one staring back from the glass. She's the girl to please, never mind all the rest, for she's with you right up to the end. And you've passed the most dangerous, difficult test when the one staring back is your friend. You may be the one who got a good break, then say, I'm a wonderful gal. But the one in the glass is you're only a fake if you can't call the person your pal. You may fool the world down your pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass. But your final reward will be heartache and tears if you have cheated the girl in the glass. And why is that so important? Always be honest with yourself. Even if it hurts, honesty will always help you. Just be honest with yourself. You don't have to share it with anyone. That's your most intimate work. The one you do in front of the mirror in silence with your Bible or whatever your beliefs are. If you want to light some candles and just breathe and say, you know what? You made it this far. I'm so proud of you. I'm so thankful. And yes, your body reminds you of pain here and there, but it can go away. I can tell you for sure it can go away when you start to really let go of those emotions. And they don't have to be sad emotions. You could probably be angry all your life, or you probably feel unworthy. There's so many different types of things that we go through. Just remember to be kind to yourself and everyone around you. Have grace for those that don't know what you're going through. They're also in pain. Okay. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you. Thank you, Alice. That was beautiful. Let me stop that recording. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop to see if anybody else has any more questions.
I have a question.